So one of the things that I'm finding concerning about what's going on right now when it comes to the American Families Plan, the American Jobs Plan, and these different proposals that have been thrown out is that some of this stuff, not all of this stuff is going to be implemented. Some of it will be implemented, but a large portion of it probably will not be implemented. And I'm starting to get people asking me this question in the comments about a fourth stimulus check, about a variety of different things. And as of right now, we don't know. We don't know anything about a fourth stimulus check. Is the debate happening? Yes. Do you have politicians right now that are for a fourth stimulus check? Yes. Has the president talked about a fourth stimulus check? No. And so as of right now, we don't know exactly where that's going. And we also have this American Jobs Plan, this infrastructure bill. We don't know where that's going. And so what I've done, and I'll show you guys this in a minute, I created a calendar from May until the end of the year. And we're going to go over this calendar. We're going to add to this calendar, take away from this calendar. But I just want to show you the big picture, what we're looking at right now, because it could get confusing. And I'm getting confused about the different proposals that I'm hearing about and where we are exactly, what has already been done and we're waiting for, and what needs to be done. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please hit that like button. It does help with the YouTube algorithm. Also, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that little bell notification. That way you'll get notified anytime we put out a video. Okay, so what I want to do is go over to this calendar that I was talking about. And so I've created this calendar. It's going to go throughout the end of the year. So we are going to update this calendar as we receive more and more information. Of course, this last portion here is Rational 360, and this is the calendar. So this is the congressional calendar. So we can revert back to that just to find out if the Congress people are actually in D.C. doing work, or are they at home doing work, right? That's what they're supposed to be doing at home. So now let's take a look at the things that we know already have been implemented, okay? So we know the IRS has already talked about these plus-ups. This is already happening. We should be seeing electronic plus-ups on Wednesdays. That is the anticipation. So today, the 12th, the 19th, the 26th, and then it will be going into June as well. So if you guys do not know about the plus-ups, please check out the video that I did about plus-ups. I'll post a link above so you guys can check that out, and I'll post a link at the end of this video. But I'm not going to go into all the details of these different plans and the things that are being implemented right now, because I talked about those before. So the next thing, child tax credit. Okay, that will start. The hopes is that it will start on July 1st. Okay, that's what the target date is. So the IRS has already indicated that sometime in July they'll be able to get those started. That's going to be the monthly payment. So people have been asking about monthly payments. That's the $300 a month, depending on how old your child is, or $250 a month if your child is from 6 to 17. So if your child is under 6, it's going to be $300 a month. If your child is between 6 and 17, it's going to be $250 a month. Now, I did a video on this too, and I will post a link at the end of this video so you guys can check that out as well. So those are the two things that we know in the next couple of months will be happening. Now, the rest of this stuff we do not know. We don't have any indicators right now of where they're going to go with this stuff. And so that's what we're going to talk about right now. So the first thing here, the American Jobs Plan. Now, we know the American Jobs Plan is something that President Biden wants. Now, it's going to be up to Congress, the lawmakers, to actually create this bill. It has not been created yet. They're still negotiating. And it's been pretty quiet as of this week because Congress is not in session. But we should hear next week, you should hear some more information coming out, and we'll see more politicians come out and talk about how they want to move forward with this infrastructure bill. We also Need to think about the American Families Plan. So President Biden just announced that last week, talking about the American Families Plan. So this is how the president wants to move when it comes to the human infrastructure or the social programs that people have been talking about. Now, we also know proposals are on the table from senators. So we have Senator Coons has a proposal. We have Senator Capito has a proposal. And then we also have a representative. Hawley has a proposal. So we'll talk a little bit about those three right now. So Senator Coons, $800 billion infrastructure bill. So he is focused on infrastructure only. So not the human infrastructure, but he's talking about roads, bridges, broadband. $800 billion. Now let's talk about Senator Capito's proposal. Her proposal is $568 billion for infrastructure. So infrastructure only, same thing, roads, bridges, broadband. Let's talk about Representative Hawley. He has this $1,000 parent tax credit. I will post a link at the end of this video talking a little bit more about that. But basically, this is going to be monthly payments, $1,000 a month for parents who have children 13 years or younger. So that's what we're looking at. That's all we're looking at right now when it comes to the different proposals. Now, the anticipated dates that we're looking at, they want to have this done, or at least Nancy Pelosi says she wants to have this done by the 4th of July. Okay, not everything, but her focus is the first portion. So we're talking about the American Jobs Plan. They want to have that signed off by July 4th and then start working into the American Families Plan, which I think the American Families Plan is going to take a lot more time. And I think what will end up happening is we're going to have one of these, either Senator Coons' infrastructure bill or Senator Capito's infrastructure bill, or probably a little bit of both. That's what we're probably going to see. The American Families Plan as a whole is probably going to be cut up, going to be cut in half, because right now, this American Families Plan, I believe it's about $2.5 trillion is the cost. And that is just way too much for Republicans to bear. So they don't want to move with that. And so it looks like we're probably gonna have somewhere maybe around a $1 trillion proposal that gets signed off by both sides. If it's bipartisan, if they can make this bipartisan, that's what's going to be important, because budget reconciliation is still in play. And so if they cannot get this as a bipartisan 60 votes that they need in the Senate in order to avoid a filibuster, then they're going to have to move with budget reconciliation. And so that's kind of where we are right now. Now, I think ideally what the president wants to negotiate a roads, bridges, broadband, that infrastructure portion of the bill, and then move forward with the human infrastructure after that. And so that's what we're looking at. So dates, we have June, we have July. That's when the majority of this should take place. And then after that, then we're going to be looking at the human infrastructure from that point on. And we'll have to see what they do with that. Now, we have another important date to talk about. September 30th. So 2022 fiscal year starts October 1st. Okay, they need to have the budget. So because of that, you're going to hear a lot of talk about the budget. So we're going to start hearing talk probably late July, August, and then September. They're really going to be ramping things up when it comes to the budget, because they're going to need to have something on the table. So that's where you can also see a bill go through, and you can see Congress people adding things to this bill, and it's the budget bill that they'll be talking about. Now, if they can't decide on a budget, then that means that starting October 1st, the government will be shut down. Okay, so obviously that's not something that we want to happen. So we do want them to move forward with a budget. So that's what we're looking at. And then that will round out. So the rest of the year, I mean, we're pretty much, we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen at that point. Now, the forced stimulus check, you notice I didn't say anything about that, because no one is talking about anything when it comes to a date of when they would like to see a forced stimulus check. All we know is in September, They're going to need to do something with the budget. Potentially, lawmakers could be asking at that point, can we add a fourth stimulus check to this? And so that we might see something like that. But that's the only time that I can even see them discussing anything about another stimulus check. Okay, I want to take a look at this calendar because I want to show you guys when we have lawmakers in DC or when they're back in their home district. So in May, so this first week here, they're not going to be in session, okay? And then we will have Senate coming back on the 10th, and then the House of Representatives coming back on the 11th, and then they'll all be there. So we should see some work getting done these last 3 weeks of the month. And then when we move on to June, a little of the same. That first week, they are not going to be in session. But then after that, the next 3.5 weeks, they will be in session. Okay, for the most part. Not all of them, but at least you'll have either one chamber will be there, both chambers will be there, but they can still get stuff done. Okay, because we're looking at committee hearings. That's the key. So in order for them to move forward with this next proposal, whatever it is, they're going to have committee hearings. So looking at July, it'll be a little of the same. So the first week of July, they're not going to be there, but those last 3 weeks, they will be, for the most part. You're going to have senators and representatives there. So that's what we're looking at. That's the calendar. That's all we know as of yet. And I will add to this calendar. So when we find out more information, I'll add that to the calendar. Now, I didn't put all the different proposals out there. The reason that I didn't put all the different proposals out there is because a lot of these proposals, especially proposals that are coming from lawmakers right now, most of them are not going anywhere. And what politicians like to do is they like to put things out there, different proposals, different ideas, because you don't want to be that politician that's not doing anything or not proposing anything, because that will hurt you when you run for re-election. And so a lot of these politicians, what they'll do is they'll put out a proposal knowing it's not going anywhere. And sometimes they don't even follow up on the proposals that they put out. But it's a good way to say, look, I'm trying to do something, but they didn't like my idea. I like the idea. This is what I want to move forward with, but they don't like the idea, so I'm not going to pursue it. And one more thing I want to mention too, the raise for Social Security. Yes, I didn't talk about that. Why am I not talking about it? Because the politicians are not talking about it anymore. This is something that was raised last year. You heard different politicians kind of bring it up, the $200 raise for Social Security. But as of the last 4 or 5 months, we haven't heard anything about a raise for Social Security. And so that's why I did not add that. That is something that if it's important to you, you should be contacting your lawmakers and letting them know, look, this is something that we need. So I just thought I might mention that. If you guys have any questions, post them down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.